Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Friday, April 16th, 2021. We are in the final day of the trading week, and we are in the final hour of the trading day. The final hour of the trading day is my favorite time to make the majority of my buying and selling decisions, because at the end of the day, you have the large financial institutions. They start going to work. They start to take control of the price away from the day traders and the algorithms. They're dealing with the most money. They have very smart people, best information, best technology. And the way that I look at it is making my buying and selling decisions based upon what the large financial institutions do is the most valid price of the day, and therefore the most valid price to make your buying and selling decisions based upon your levels. So thank you all for coming today. I appreciate you being here. I always look forward to this time of the day. We have such a great group, so many people that help contribute to it every day, like Frank and Steve and Kamal and a bunch more of you. So I hope you are having a good day. I hope you're looking forward to the weekend. And I hope by spending your time here and investing your time, you're getting some kind of return on time investment by learning about good trading principles and investing principles. So currently the Dow is up 182 points, up about 0.5%. The NASDAQ is up slightly, up 16 points, up 0.12%, and the S&P is up 17.19, up 0.41%. So here is the plan for today. First of all, we are going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Secondly, we are going to come back. We're going to take a look at my current positions. I'll talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, and how I'm going to manage them going forward. I did have a couple day trades that I'm going to share with you. Oh, look at that. Gary VIX finally did take off. We were looking at VIX earlier in the day and had a big bullish divergence going on, but no trigger. But there you go. Looks like that would have been your trigger right there with the false breakout and downside in the V2 and boom. So anyway, after we take a look at my current positions in day trades, we're going to go over to the board. My students have their positions up there. And we're going to go through, we're going to take a look at each one and see how those are doing. I see a little red, I see a little green, but I think more green than red. After that, we are going to talk about trader psychology, always the most important part of this podcast, in my opinion, and in life. In trading, you can get your emotions amplified either to the upside or the downside by big wins and big losses. And the problem with that is that will get you off of your trade plan, usually, unless you're really strong-willed or it's become a habit. In my opinion, the best way to guard against that is to have a conservative position size, enough to make a difference, but not enough that the emotions are going to overwhelm you. You know, if you look at it in dollar terms, if you look and you go, hey, I made $6,000 today, you start putting that into real dollar terms, like, hey, I could buy a new jet ski, right? Or something like that. And really what you want to do is you want to trade your process, and you don't want to think about it in dollar terms. A lot of traders just turn off their profit and loss so they don't see it, so that doesn't affect them. And that's actually a pretty good idea. Dr. Elder suggested years ago that would be a good thing for me. So we are going to spend a few minutes on trader psychology. Hopefully that will be helpful for you. It's always helpful for me to talk about it and to discuss it with you. And the old saying, you teach what you need to learn most, right? After that, I have gone down through my watch list. I have gone down through the results of Kamal's scanner. I do have 3 requirements whenever I am looking to enter a trade. The first, I need to have a confluence or a combination of indicators ideally on multiple time frames. I look at indicators such as MACD, RSI, ATR channels, moving averages, V1s, V2s. I look at those as a group of buyers coming in, and you will put yourself in the best position to have, you will increase the odds of having a profitable trades dramatically if you're in the company with as many other buyers. Requirement number 2, even if you have a good even if you have a good combination or confluence of indicators, you also need to judge to see if you have a good risk to reward ratio. 2-to-1 is the minimum that I use, no less than that, because I want to make sure if I it might be a 50-50 chance that I'm going to make money on the trade, but if I am right, I want to be able to make more than when I lose on the other 50%. And that's the formula for profitable trading. So you have to have a good risk to reward ratio. And then number 3, before you hit that buy button, just take a little pregnant pause and take a deep breath and reflect a minute and say, do I really need this trade? Is it a good, clean trade? Have I position size for volatility? Do I know where my emergency stop is? Do I know where my end of day stop is? Do I know where my profit targets are? Do I know where my overhead resistance is? Do I have a trailing stop methodology so I don't give back all my profits if it does go my direction? So, in other words, you have to have a trade plan. Make sure before you hit that button that you have a trade plan. Also, some other things to consider. Think about how many positions you have. Think about how correlated those positions you are. Think about how much account heat you have, or in other words, what percent of your total capital are you putting at risk? I don't care if you're long and short. Your longs can go up, your longs can go down and your shorts can go up. I've seen it many times. It's happened many times to me as well. So I do have some end of day candidates. I am going to go through them as we get closer to the close of the podcast. I'm going to narrow them down, look at the multiple time frames, look at the risk to reward ratios, keep in mind what kind of positions I have and how much correlation that I have. And if I find something at the end of the day that makes sense, I will go ahead and buy it. Then after the market closes, if you have any questions for me, please feel free, type them in the chat. If you have any stock symbols that you would like me to look at prior to the close, great. Just let me know, put them in the chat, put an emoji by it so I know it's time sensitive, and I will do my very best to get to it before the close of the day. And then lastly, if any of my students want to update the board, want me to update the board for their positions, if you could please just wait till the end of the day when the market's closed so that I'm done teaching, I'm done trading, pressure's off, and then we'll spend as much time as we need to get those taken care of. Okay, so that is the plan for today. So hang tight. I'm going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer, take a breather for 40 seconds, and I'll be back. Thanks. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. All right, let us see who is here today. Christopher Uhl is here. Good to see you, Chris. I did get your message, and by the way, this is Christopher Uhl from 10 Minute Stock Trader. He has a great channel over on YouTube, so please go over there, subscribe to his channel. He has great interviews with stock traders all over the world, all different type of stock traders. And give me one sec, I'm gonna grab a link here. And he was kind enough to interview me on his podcast last week. And so what I'm gonna do, and I posted this on Twitter and I posted this on Facebook and all that kind of stuff, but I'm gonna put a link to that podcast and that interview right here in the live stream. So if you'd like to go over, take a look at that. We talk about market volatility. We talk about using ATR channels. But thank you, Chris, and keep up the good work with the channel. I always look forward to listening to your interviews and hope you're having a good day, my friend. Dan is here. Dan gives the peace sign. Right back at you, brother. Hope you're doing well in Florida. Jatin, hey Jatin, how you doing? Good to see you. Jatin says, hello, good afternoon, sir. Nice to see you. I hope I haven't seen you for a bit. I hope you are doing well. Jonathan is here. Hi, Greg and group. Hello, Jonathan. Good to see you. Looking forward to our lesson on Sunday. Kamal is here. Hey, Kamal. Good to see you. Thank you for everything that you do for this channel, Kamal. I appreciate it. I know everyone else does with your scanner, your great input, and also your friendship, Kamal. I really appreciate that on a personal level. Miko25 is here. Good to see you, Miko. Miko says good afternoon and all. Good afternoon, Miko. Hope you are doing well and the family is doing well. Quad, how you doing, bud? Good afternoon, Greg and group. Good afternoon to you, Quad. I did see your message. Sounds like you've been busy, but thank you for saying hi. Lova is here. Good to see you, Lova. All right, so Lova has an analysis for us. Let's take a look. BE. Bloom Energy. I've not heard of this. Okay, bounced at the 200. Yesterday it did with a pretty good risk to reward ratio. Some recent support at the -1 ATR channel. That is true. And today's bar bounced at halfway of yesterday's big red bar. That is true. Weekly has a false breakout. Not too bad. Yeah. I would, if I were taking this, I would take this if today on the weekly triggered a V1. The close is 24.84. We're at 24.61. I would really like to see that happen today if you traded it on the weekly. On the daily, it's good. I mean, it is good. I think the time to have bought it would have been yesterday, though, when your risk to reward was better. See what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of things. False breakout. There is a V2. Halfway of the washout bar dovetails pretty nicely with the 200-day. We have a MACD crossover. Great analysis, Lova. My only thought here is that it looks a little chasey. But you know how that is. Sometimes if it looks chasey, they just keep going up and you miss it. If you were interested in taking this trade, another way to do this would be to buy a half a position right now. And if it goes up, great, you have a half. If it comes back down, holds that halfway bar and closes above the 200-day moving average, that's when I might add my second half there. I'm not averaging down. Well, I guess I am, but not really, not in a negative sense, because that would be my trade plan. But very good. Love it. I am so proud of you. You are getting so good at this analysis. I can tell you're putting in the work, and that's what it takes. Carlos, hey, Greg and all. Happy Friday. Carlos, good to see you, my friend. I'm so sorry about the loss of your friend that you told me about. Hope you're hanging in there and doing well. And thank you for coming today. And we'll need to make up that lesson when you're ready to go. Okay. So let's look at NIO. Rejected 200, double bottom, MACD divergence. Weekly is not impressive, but maybe not too harmful either. Yeah, kind of neutral. The green MACD with double bottom is what got my attention. Yeah, it's perfect. It's a double bottom with a bullish divergence. It's a V1 and a rejection of the 200-day. I mean, I'm going to write that one down because that is good. I mean, that is, this is kind of a scary stock, NIO, but it's excellent analysis, Leva. I'm so proud of you. Really, really, I truly mean that. I mean, I can tell you have been putting in the work, and makes me happy. Makes me happy, buddy. Okay, what is that? NIO. Let me put that down on the old list here. NIO. Nope, that's INO. And that's INO again. NIO. Okay, good. Tracy is here. Good to see you, Tracy. Hope you are doing well. Hope you and Paxton are doing well. We had a really good lesson last week. You guys did awesome. David is here. Hello, Greg and group. Hello, Mr. David. Good to see you. Hope the family's doing well. Steve Burns is here. Nice to see you, Steve. Steve says, hello, traders. Few things I want to thank Steve for. One, for being here. Two, for everything that you contribute to this live stream, Steve. I appreciate it on a daily basis. I know everyone else does as well. And number three, I wanted to thank you for including me on your Twitter list today, your Friday list. I always appreciate that, and that's kind of you. Hope you, Holly, and all the dogs are doing well. Nigma says, hi, everyone. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Nigma. Good seeing you. Hope you're doing well. Frank says, hello, Greg and Group. Hello, Mr. Frank. Thank you for everything that you do for this channel as well, Frank. Christopher says, thanks for sharing, Greg. You bet. And that's my post there with the yellow. That's the link to the interview if you'd like to watch that. Chatin says, JPM, beautiful consolidation. Do check, sir. Okay. I will check right back, sir. Yeah, it was a V1 yesterday. Bit of a gap. I don't like that the close is below the open. I can tell you that. That was, I think, had earnings. But yes, consolidation. You know, we consolidate, we trend. We consolidate, we trend. We just don't know which way, to the upside or to the downside. Lova says, thank you, Greg. You're welcome. You are certainly welcome. All right, let's check over here. All right, well, let's get started. Silver. Gary and I did buy silver on a weekly trade last Friday, 43.96, return to value, false breakout to the downside, V2, rejection of the negative 50-day moving average. Up this week nicely, did hit one profit target already today. Or was it yesterday? I can't remember. But it is up 6.21% on the trade. Steve bought, where did Steve go? Steve bought at 46.07 yesterday on the daily with the 520 crossover. So he is up as well. So good for Gary, Steve, and myself on silver. BA, well, BA's been a tough one for us. We have Jonathan, we have Gary, we have David and myself. We did buy this return to value V2, initially went up, hit a profit target, but ever since then it's just been down, down, and down, and it is down 1.81% today. This red line here, the halfway, the washout bar, this is my line in the sand. So if we close below this red line today, I'm going to have to just go ahead, take my loss, and just move on to a better trade, right? But I wait till the end of the day to make my buying and selling decisions, because we might have a rally at the end of the day, and if it closes back above, I'll keep it. Berkshire Hathaway has been an excellent trade. Was such a perfect setup. We had a return to value, sideways motion, consolidations, false breakout to the downside, V1, bought at 250.86, moved 1.5 ATRs from my entry, got to trailing stop point, had a close below the previous day's low. I got out of half as a precautionary measure, and look at this leg up. I mean, this is just crazy. Here on the 13th, I did lock in another half of my profits when it went above 70 and below 70, but I still wanted to see confirmation. I kept half because I still want to see confirmation to some downside. We rejected some upside, but we need to reject I need to see some confirmation to downside before I just bail on the position. Up another 1.26% today, did hit two profit targets, and this trade from entry to exit is up 7.98%. So that's good. Budweiser, let's see. All right, Greg, that's me. Jonathan, Frank, Gary, and David did buy Budweiser on the monthly chart, right at the end of the last day of last month is the end of this monthly bar. We had a close below the -1 ATR channel. We rallied into the value zone. We had some pullback. We had a higher low V2 while MACD was positive. I bought it at 62.91 at 68.05. It is up 8.275 so far this month. So it's been a great trade, and I did hit one profit target. Okay, Beyond Meat. All right. Steve, Frank, Tracy, David, Lilia, and myself did buy Beyond Meat yesterday with a 520 crossover. Bought it at 137.28. Rallied up nicely earlier in the morning. I did take off a portion of my position with the profit target at 139.55. Now it's back to 137.37. So slightly positive on the trade, but it is positive, for me at least, mainly because I took the profit target a couple dollars higher. So this one looks good. Don't have to do anything with this, but so far so good. CVS, Anybody else take CVS? No, just me. All right. I did buy CVS with this return to value, sideways motion, false breakout to the downside, rejection of the 50 RSI, triggered the V2 at 75.03. It's currently 75.88. It's up 0.13%, and I think it's up like 1.13% total on the trade. I have not reached my trailing stop level, so I'm not in trailing stop mode, but so far so good. So far so good. Up on the day, up on the trade. Gold has been an excellent trade. I did buy gold. Let's see, do we have anyone else in? No. All right. I did buy gold with a 520 crossover at 62.75. The next day it raced up. I took some profit targets, came right back down. Next day went down, closed below both the 5 and the 20. I sold half of my position, but I kept the other half of the position because the 5 was still above the 20, and it has rallied beautifully since then. Did hit one profit target at the open at 166.15, and so far this trade is up 2.2%. GPN. Anyone else? Nope, just me. All right. I did buy GPN with a confluence of signals here. V2, false breakout to the downside, 520 crossover, bought it at 207.72, has moved up very, very nicely. Hit one profit target today. I'm in trailing stop mode. I'm looking for a close below the previous day's low. So far, this trade up 4.71%. My Lord, do I have a lot of positions. All right, Goldman Sachs. Greg, that's me, half position. David and Steve with the 520 cross back on the 14th. Bought at 335.28. It is 342.42, up 1.17% today and up about 2.1% on the trade. I did take off partial profits here at 342.47. Haas, Lilia, Quad and I did buy Haas with a false breakout to the downside, 520 crossover, entered at 97.07, had a big bar up, took some profits off, had another bar up, took some profits. Today is down. I did get to trailing stop level. So what that means is, actually, I better cancel these orders here. Sorry, everyone. Give me a second. Okay. Okay, so now that I've hit my trailing stop level, if we close below the previous day's low, so yesterday's lows here, it looks like we may close below there. So if it does, I will lock in half profits because this is a bit of a precautionary measure. This is a bit of a red flag with this close below the previous day's low. So I'll have to watch this one at the end. But up on the down on the day, but up on the trade, LITE, Lilia and I did take LITE with this return to value, sideways motion, false breakouts to the downside, V1 on the weekly, bought at 91.74. It's currently 93.42. Up, is this? Yeah, up on the day and up on the trade. MasterCard. All right. Tracy, Gary, David, Jonathan, Miko, Lilia, and myself did buy MasterCard back here on the 5th. 520 crossover at 368.54, and this has been a beautiful trade. I am to my trailing stop level. I'm just looking for a close below the previous day's low. This trade so far up 4.44%, so that's good. Overnight SPY trade. Okay, an oldie but a goodie. I do buy the I do buy the SPY every day at the close. I hold it overnight. I take the overnight risk. I sell it first thing the next morning at the open. I bought it yesterday at the close at 415.87. I sold it this morning at the open at 417.29. So close to a couple dollars overnight SPY trade. I will buy this again today at the close. I'll hold it over the weekend. I'll sell it first thing Monday morning. Okay, 2 day trades today on Apple. Okay, here we go. First trade here, return to value. We had some sideways motion. I did buy when this that's right here. I did buy when this V1 triggered. I bought it at 134.10. Next bar moved up nicely, up 134. Yes, 134.38. Next bar came down, lost the 50 RSI and some moving averages. I sold it at break even. So not that big of a trade. Bought at 134.10, out at 134.38. So I made 28 cents on the trade, and then break even on the other half. Then I saw this setup and I really liked it. And I guess shame on me for thinking that it would go up, but it was nice sideways motion, false breakout to the downside, V1, rejection of the 200. I bought it at 133.93. Initially went up, then closed below the 200-day moving average, and I took a small loss on that one. So one winner, one loser on the day trade. Nothing to write home about there. All right. Steve says DocuSign, DOCU, has a 1050 EMA crossover today, but it is almost overbought. Okay. Been a lot of crossovers lately, right, Steve? Carlos says, thank you. I'm glad to be here and have a bit of something positive to look forward to. Oh, thank you, Carlos. Hope you're doing well, man. That's always very difficult to lose someone. Quad says, I did get out of HAS already. We'll remind you at the end of the day. Thank you. Steve said pin plunge today. Let's look at pin. Is that Pinterest? Probably Pinterest, right? Oh, wow. Yes, 8.93%. It sure did. Yavar is here. Hello, Yavar. Nice to see you. Gary says, hello, Greg and group. Hello. Steve says Spotify has a 1030 EMA crossover. Yes, it does. That's the pink line crossing the gray line. Little high for me. It rejected the second ATR channel. You know, sometimes this rule saves me money. Sometimes it makes me money, or costs me money, and sometimes it makes me money by not entering the trade. But just for me, and this is just my own personal preference, but once we get up to the second ATR channel, I don't take crossovers that high. But listen, that thing might just keep rocking. Who knows? All right. Let's go over and take a look at your trades, shall we? Beyond Meat. All right. Not Beyond Meat. I always call that. Excuse me. This is Tracy and Paxton's trades. Been an excellent trade. They bought this all the way back here at 47.80. Looks like the 520 cross in the value zone. That was a great place to buy it. They sold with close below the previous day's low. They kept the other half, and it has just been rocking up there today. One thing I noticed on here, you see this pink line? We did go above the previous high intraday, and now we've closed below it. So this is a false breakout to the upside and a close back into the base. That's, you know, a little bit of a bearish, that's a little bit of a bearish sign. I was looking at this earlier. But very nice trade. SIVB, Steve and Tracy bought SIVB at 511.26. It's 519.01. It's up. They used the 520 crossover, up 1.43% so far on the trade. Very nice. SPCE, I have Gary and Tracy bought SPCE with this bounce at the 200-day moving average, 26.82. Yesterday it got hammered with bad news, but it is up a little bit today, so that's good. But I do still have Gary and Tracy in there. Clorox, Lilia bought Clorox yesterday at 191.70. False breakout to the downside, V2. It looks like it was much lower earlier, but it has recovered. It is still down 0.3% today, but I'm glad for Lilia that this has recovered. All right, we have Steve, David, Johan, Kamal, and Gary bought you yesterday with the 520 crossover. Johan, yes, David, Johan, Kamal, and Gary bought it at 97.90 with the higher low V1 rejection of the -1 ATR channel. Steve bought it yesterday at 101.90 with the 520 crossover. So different signals here. It's 171 cents. So this group here, down on the day, but up on the trade. And then over here, this one is slightly down on the day and down on the trade. PKI, we have Jonathan. Jonathan bought PKI using the 520 EMA crossover at 129.70. He sold half here, had another leg up yesterday, down today though, but Jonathan is still up on the trade, so that's good. SCCO has been doing well for Tracy with the 520 crossover, bought at 72.38. It's currently 76.21. Very nice percentage wise. What is that? I guess 4.93%. Way to go, Tracy. Netflix. All right. Jonathan bought Netflix with the deep dip buy here. Rejection of the 200-day moving average at 511.81. Had a beautiful leg up. When we finally had to close below the previous day's low, Jonathan sold half. And it looks like it might be closing below the 5 EMA today. Let's see. Did we get above 65? No, doesn't look like we did. So, Jonathan, just let me know if you have any changes with that, okay? DocuSign. Now I'm confused. Okay. Bruce, I think Kamal and Johan bought DocuSign when we had to close under the 250, over the 250 at 202.40. David bought at 212.90 with the 520 crossover. It's 232.14, down a little on the day, but nicely up for everyone on this trade. So congratulations. Riot. Oh boy. Okay, so Gary sold credit spreads on Riot expiring today, the 45, 42, 50s. So it needs to close above 45. But actually, Gary, I already saw your post. Now I remember. You already covered them at a profit when it was up higher. So I am going to take that one off. Way to go. KMX. Lilia bought KMX at 132.17. She sold half when it closed below both the 5 and the 20. Continued down yesterday, is up today. So it is up today, but slightly down on the trade for Lilia. NVAX. All right. NVAX having a nice day. Frank bought NVAX all the way back here at 135. It more than doubled. He sold he sold 90% of his position. Excellent trade, probably the biggest trade I've seen all year. Kept 10% as a runner, and he's been running up and down with this, but beautiful, nice up today, up 10.83%. Square, Johan bought Square at 236.60 with the 520 crossover. Had a beautiful move up. I think Johan's been flying. I haven't heard. Down a little bit today, but still nicely up on the trade. ELY, Frank bought ELY at 27.75. It's 29.46, so this is up nicely. This is up over 6%. Congratulations, Frank. Teladoc, Johan bought Teladoc back here at 182. It's 190.93. It's down a little bit today, but nicely, beautifully up on the trade. CMG, this is Frank. This is Chipotle. He bought it 14.52. It's 15.34. It is down a little today, but nicely up. He did sell a quarter of his position to lock in profits. IWM, Steve bought IWM because of the 1030 and the 1050 SMA crossover. Bought it at 224.12. It's 225.06. So almost up $1, up 0.35%. So congratulations there, Steve. Oh, we already talked about you. Not you, literally. And then Lyft. Lyft is Steve. Steve bought yesterday the 520 crossover at 64.70. It's currently 63.66. So it is down on the day and down on the trade so far. All right. Frank has a poem for us today. Let us read. Excellent. Okay, let me type this in. I'm running a little bit behind on time. Maybe not. Maybe I'm okay. Okay. Here's Frank's poem. Every trade comes with some built-in doubt. Sometimes it's best to just sit it out. But risk can be managed if we search like a scout and follow our rules to find the right route. That's great. Every trade comes with some built-in doubt. Sometimes it's best to just sit it out. But risk can be managed if we search like a scout and follow our rules to find the right route. Another fantastic one, Frank. I don't know how you do it. That is a gift. That is a gift. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jason says 100% agree. Superb. Frank, that's a great one. Leva says, I bought a full position in LBRDK on April. Is today's 520 a crossover? Add another position. I don't know. Let's see. You know, a lot of times if you have one position, if you have one signal and then it crosses into another signal, you can morph into that new signal. There's no right answer. It's a personal choice whether or not you want to do that, Leva. But okay, so you bought on 520. No. Oh, April 9th. Yeah, okay. You bought with this rejection of the 200. You can just keep playing it out from the 200. I don't know if the 520 crossover back tests well on this particular stock, but you could reload, just create a brand new trade here if you wish, or you just, there's no right answer here, unfortunately. But I like where your thinking's at because it does make sense. Steve says copper stocks, gold, silver, finally doing well. Yes, they are. I used to do that, Leva, for long-term trades. Yeah, you take one trade into another term trade. Steve says, Steve, is it a bad strategy when swing trading? Steve says multiple signal entries is a valid pyramiding strategy for longer term trades as long as the risk to reward is still valid for your system. You currently lost its 520 crossover and is now a cross under. I will see how it closes. Leva says, thank you, Steve. I was thinking that this second buy might be too chasey. It's near the 1 ATR level. You don't have to add a second buy. I mean, you could, you know, if you've been scaling out, you could just enter here. By the time you got out here, you'd have fewer shares and you could just treat this like a new trade. That's also another option. Okay, Steve, speaking of Steve Burns, here is a post from Steve Burns over on Facebook. Steve, thank you for all these great posts. You know, I talk about your post at least 2 times a week generally, and because you have the best. And he is at S. Joseph Burns on Twitter. If you'd like to follow him over there, and you should, because anything Steve writes, I read. To trade any market, you need a quantified trading strategy with an edge. If you don't have one, you are just gambling. If you don't position size right, you will eventually lose all your capital. If you don't stay disciplined, no system will work. If you quit, you lose anyway. Let's break these down. To trade any market, you need a quantified trading system with an edge. You need to back test it. You need to know that you have an edge. If you have an edge, you can repeat that edge over the next 1,000 trades. You're not going to win every trade, but it's just like a casino. They have a built-in edge. It's quantified. It's mathematical. You need to do the same for your trading, whether they're crossovers or any other type. You need to have a mathematical edge with a good risk to reward ratio. If you do not have that, like Steve says, you are just gambling. If you do not position size right, you will eventually lose all your capital. Doesn't matter what your win rate is. If you position size too large, it is inevitable that you will run into a stock that will destroy you. It's all about position sizing, everyone. I've been there. In my 20s, I was there. So I know of what I speak here, and I don't want anyone else to have to go through that. Position sizing, to me, is the most important part of trading. More important than your entries, more important than your exits, because if you position size correctly and you have a bad trade, okay, you lose some money, it stings, but you're not going to blow yourself up. If you position size too large, then you can lose a lot of money. So please, I'm speaking from experience, everybody. Position size to me is the most important thing in trading. If you don't stay disciplined, no system will work. That's true. You can have the best trading approach in the world, best trading plan, but if you don't stay disciplined, you don't follow it. Like you can have the best nutrition plan. You have the best exercise plan designed by experts, world famous experts, right? But if you don't follow it, it's not going to do anything, no matter how good it is. So you have to stay disciplined and follow your plan. And if you quit, you lose anyway. That's true. If you quit, then you're done and that's it. So thank you, Steve. This was helpful for me. I hope it was helpful for everyone else. And thank you, Steve, for this great post. All right, give me a second. All right, real quick, before I get on to new positions, I want to look at current positions once again, make sure everything's okay. Everything looks good on AGQ. The only thing that would make me change my mind on AGQ is if we lost the 50 RSI by the end of the week. If we did, it'll take a while because this is a weekly, but today, if we did close under 50, I would lock in half of my gains right there with the rejection. But that looks pretty good so far. BA, definitely is on the chopping block today, closed below halfway the washout bar back here on whatever date that is, on the 12th, but looks like I am going to have to lock in losses on Boeing. Berkshire Hathaway is doing very, very well. It's a 74.05 RSI. Nothing I have to do with that. Budweiser on the monthly, doing great. Don't have to do anything there. Beyond Meat, reversal bar today, but the 5 is still above the 20. CVS having a nice day here, up 0.3%. So nothing I have to do with CVS. That's looking good. Gold having a nice day. Did hit the profit target there. Nothing I have to do there. GPN, trailing stop mode, but it doesn't look like it's going to close below. Goldman Sachs doing great for all of us. Haas, okay, let me make myself a note here. Haas, there's a lot of positions to manage. So looks like Haas very likely will close below the previous day's low. In that case, I will go ahead and sell half of Haas today because it got to my trailing stop level, and I'll lock in half my profits here. Light's doing great, doing fine. Oh, Gary has credit spreads expiring today. So those are going to expire, and Gary's going to keep all of the premium. Way to go, Gary. So I'm going to take that off because those expire today. MasterCard off of its low, doing fine. I've already programmed in SPY to buy SPY at the end of the day, and I think that is it. All right. Sorry, I'm just thinking. All right, here we go. It is Friday, so I'm looking at some weekly trades. I am looking at Merck for a weekly trade. We have a close below the -1 ATR channel. We've rallied into the value zone. Last week, we had a false breakout to the downside. This week, we triggered a V2, good risk to reward ratio. MACD is positive. It's cleared the 50 RSI currently. So we do have earnings here on the 29th. So if this closes as it is here right now with the higher low V2, under 50, over 50, and the positive MACD, I will buy Merck on the weekly. I will take my maximum allowed loss divided by the value of the 2 ATR on the weekly, which is a greater number because the ranges are greater on the weekly. So that will give me a smaller position size to account for the greater ranges on the weekly. So don't make a mistake and take your maximum allowed loss divided by the value of the 2 ATR on the daily, because you'll buy way too many shares. You know, look at the average true range, the 2 ATR on the time frame that you are using. But I do like Merck here for the weekly trade. UNG, as Kamal knows, the untradeable, this is a bit of a false breakout to the downside and a V2. I like Merck because Merck is over 50 where UNG is not. ZM, which is, oh no, Zoom's over here, sorry. Yeah, those are my only two weeklies. All right, as far as dailies go, Zoom had a 520 crossover earlier. Right now it's uncrossed. It's 330.46 compared to 330.70. So that one's not good. Expedia looks pretty good. We have a V2 520 crossover, and it does back test well. We went under 50, over 50. Let's look at the weekly. Weekly's above the 5 EMA, which is good. It's a little high. It's dealing with that second ATR channel, but all in all, pretty good. Increased volume on this move up today as well. So I kind of like Expedia there. Workhorse has a false breakout to the downside and a V2. Looks a little chasey to me at this point. It rejected the 20-day moving average, so I'm going to stay away from that. Stitch Fix does look good with a double bottom, bullish divergence. Here we have deep red MACD bars. We rallied to green. We went lower, no green, no red whatsoever. And it looks like it's closing above the 200-day moving average. And this may have gone under 30, over 30. I'm not sure. No, 32.86. But that does give a good risk to reward ratio. It looks like we're back in the value zone. I definitely am considering buying Stitch Fix today as well. NIO, good. Double bottom, bullish divergence, V1, little selling at the top here. Looks like we could reject the -1 ATR channel. That makes me like Stitch Fix even better because it is a better risk to reward with the 5 just right underneath there. Run, false breakout to the downside, V2 up 10% today. Looks a little chasey to me. GTLS 520 crossover. This only traded 133,000 shares. That's not enough shares for me. Trip. It's a V2. Technically, it's a V2. I don't like that the selling came up here. I think I'm going to pass on that one. I like Expedia better. BLKB. Looks like a V2, but a bad risk to reward ratio. NTES, I don't see anything there. GSX, just this consolidation here. We're still under 30, so no. FSLR, false breakout to the downside, V2, it's okay. But risk to reward ratio down to here, reward ratio, or risk down to here, reward ratio, the 200, that's not 2 to 1. SWIR, higher low V2, not bad, but only 138,000 shares traded, not enough for me. Dada, double bottom, bullish divergence, maybe under 30, over 30. Yeah, bounced right at the 30. It's okay, but it's still under the -1 ATR channel. So this is what I'm going to do. I am going to buy Merck on the weekly as long as it closes above 50. That's the point. It has to close above 50. I'm going to get rid of UNG. So I have to decide between Expedia and Stitch Fix. I think I'm going to go with Expedia. Has the 50 above. There was a on Stitch Fix today. There was a lot of profit made from the people that bought at the bottom. They're looking for some reason to get out. It is still a good trade, but I'm going to go with Expedia. I'm going to go with Expedia on the daily. And Merck on the weekly. So those are my two, Merck and EXP. EXEP, excuse me. EXPE, excuse me. And Haas, I'm going to sell half of my position right now because that definitely looks like it's closing. So I'm selling half of Haas. And locking in gains there. Okay. So I'm going to be watching Merck here to make sure we close over 50. If we do not close over 50, then that will have been a rejection of the 50 RSI. So I am going to have to watch this one kind of carefully. So over here on Haas, I'm going to just mark here that I sold half. Oh, and Boeing. I've got to get out of Boeing. It might tease me and keep me in there. I don't know. I'll just have to watch it. But I have 7 minutes. I have to focus on that one. All right, so Steve's long spot at 292.80 with the 1030 crossover. I'll update that after the market closes. Trade says I don't like add-on positions over 65 RSI or the 30 ATR channel. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Okay. So Boeing, are you going to close below? Kind of want to be done with this trade, to be honest with you. Okay. So Merck and EXPE it is. Maybe. 50.06 if it closes above Under 50.06, I will not take the trade. EXPE does look pretty good with that crossover. Jackson said, would stay cautious on Dow Jones right now. Things are headed south, I guess. Could be. Definitely could be. You know, if we look at the Dow, if we look at the DIA, if we look at this, I mean, if we look on the weekly, if we look on the daily, there's a big divergence. We have a high with very high MACD bars. We pulled back to some red. We've gone higher, 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 but yet the MACD readings are lower than over here. This indicates that this second move up did not have the momentum of this one. And, you know, it could indicate, and kind of the implication is that if you're running out of momentum to the upside, that you will soon go down. That is, people that trade divergences, that is how they look at these. All right, so Boeing, I think I'm going to go ahead and just get out of Boeing because I want to. I have enough positions anyway. All right, Boeing is done for a loss. Done. Let me look over at Merck. 50.19. So MRK, that's the weekly trade. Position sizing for the weekly, that's the important part. And then EXPE on the daily trade. All right. All right, so we have 2 minutes to the close. I've got to run and take care of something real quick. I'll see you in about 40 seconds. Okay. So I did buy Merck. I did buy EXPE. Merck on the weekly, EXPE on the daily. I did sell half of my Haas. I did get rid of Boeing. Ooh, good thing I sold Haas when I did. All right, that's it. Okay. So let's take a look and see where I bought everything. So I did buy EXPE at 173.98. I did buy Merck at 77.42. And where is my SPY trade? And I did buy SPY at 417.26. So V2 520 crossover on EXPE, which is Expedia. I did buy that at let's see, 173.98. Merck on the weekly, higher low V2. I bought that at 77.42. And overnight SPY trade, I bought at 417.26. All right. So that is that. So listen, if any of my students have any new updates for me, they want me to update on the board, this is the time to do it. Please go ahead, put it in the chat. Before I do, just real quick, just want to remind everybody, I do teach private one-on-one lessons in the evening time via Skype. I love to teach. I think I'm pretty good at it. I know I teach a really good course. The course is 15 hours, 5 sessions. Each session is 3 hours. I teach you all 5 of the trading strategies that I use. I teach you step by step, every step of the way, so that when you are done with this course, you will be in a good position to be able to take advantage of these strategies, because you'll know exactly how to implement them. And the strategies work in all sorts of different markets. That's why I have 5 different strategies. So if you are interested in taking this one-on-one course with me, just send me an email. The email's in the description of this video. Just send me, or you can send me a message at Twitter as well, and just say, Greg, I'm interested in your one-on-one course. I will reply, say, great, that's fantastic. Let's set up a Skype call. Skype call is free. I just want to learn more about you and your trading, your challenges and your goals. It's a good time for you to ask me questions about any particular questions that you have about the course. And when we're done with the Skype call, you can think about it as long as you want. And if you decide you want to, we'll go ahead and schedule it. Just get a hold of me and we will get it scheduled. Number 2, if you're not able to do the one-on-one course, I do have a really good online course available on udemy.com. It's the Deep Dip Buy Stock Trading Strategy. That course is doing really well. It's selling really well. I've got great feedback. I've got great reviews. It's very affordable. It's like $12 or $15. There's a link in the description, a Udemy link. You can just go in there, pay the $12-15, watch it this weekend, ask me any questions next week if you watch it. But it is a great course. It's 9.5 hours, 26 videos, 15 study guides. And that is, taking that course, you can master that approach. So the link's in the description. And then lastly, if you like today's podcast, I certainly would appreciate it if you could hit the thumbs up button. It helps to build the channel, helps to keep the channel around, lets YouTube know that there's some valuable content, so they'll keep sharing and getting out there. So if there's anything, today or this week was helpful for you, I just ask a little thumbs up in return and we will be square. How about that? All right, so let's go over to, now I know Steve did something. Oh, Spotify, okay. All right, so Steve's in Spotify. $292.80. Okay, let's see. With the 1030 EMA cross. All right, good luck with that, Steve. Tracy is out of Beyond Meat. And in Stitch Fix. With the double bottom, bullish divergence, V1, close above. Yep, that's good. I like that. That's Tracy. Kamal, no trades. Okay. Gary is out of Boeing. Yeah, Boeing's being hard to trade lately. And in Stitch Fix with Tracy. Kamal says, thanks, Greg. Have a good weekend. You too, Kamal. Mamal says, not for the board, but out of Boeing Fiverr Stitch Fix. Gotcha. Gary says, new trader are you. The 520 is still in play on you. I was going to sell at the wire, but it held. Quad says, out of Haas and EXP. Okay. Oh, and in EXPE. Jatson, thank you for everything, sir. God bless you. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you, Jatson. Hope you have a nice weekend as well. Gary says, thank you, Greg. Hope everyone has a great weekend. I agree. Hope you have a nice weekend. Gary Miko says, I am out of MasterCard, Greg. Thanks and good weekend wishes to all. Okay, good. Let's take Miko out of Master. Jonathan, tidy small positions out of Netflix. Okay. So we're all out of Netflix. Out of PKI. Out of Boeing and in Merck. And David's also out. All right, so everybody's out of Boeing. And in Merck. For Jonathan. And I will see you, Jonathan, on Sunday for our regular lesson. Looking forward to that. Oh. Okay, Tracy. I will put you back in. I will put you back in Beyond Meat, and I will take you out of Boyd Gaming. Well, that was a great trade, my friend. Congratulations to you and Paxton on that trade. David is in Spotify. Frank says no change. Okay. Good enough. Good enough. So listen, if you have any other questions, just think about them, type them in the live stream there. But before we do that, I like to do this at the end of each podcast. Just remind everybody, if we all do one random act of kindness daily, we just might set the world in the right direction. So, try to make it a habit. Try to make it a habit every day. Try to do one nice thing for a human being. Try to do one nice thing for an animal. It will make the human being feel better. It will make you feel better. It should make the human being feel better. It should make the animal feel better. It should make you feel better. It's a win-win-win all around, and I think the world would be a better place if we could just all do that every day. So just one random act of kindness, we might just set the world in the right direction. So, all right. Anyone else have any other questions? Let's see, where did everybody finish up? So the Dow finished up 164, the NASDAQ up 13, and the S&P up 15. So across the board, it's green, off of its highs, but across the board, it's green. Dan says, Greg, would you mind having a look at the weekly SPY? Sure. Well, that's about as bullish as you can get. Higher highs, higher lows. You know, we are at a confluence right there, everybody. I mean, we're at the third ATR channel. We're at the 7150 RSI. You know, my experience tells me that statistically, we're probably about as good as it gets. I mean, it could go higher. You never know in this crazy market that we have, but I don't know. We're going up and up and up and up and up. Volume's going down and down and down and down and down. See how the volume's going down while the market is going up? Fewer and fewer people are participating at these levels. We're at the third ATR channel. We're at the 70 RSI, even over that. We don't have a divergence anymore, so that's good. But you know, let's look at the daily. We have gaps here. There's a gap. Does this gap get filled? Most of the time they do. I don't know. To get up to the third ATR channel on the weekly is even more difficult than on the daily, and we are there. So obviously we're very strong. It could continue higher, but you know, I don't think it'd be a bad idea to turn a little conservative here, being that the market, the major market like the S&P are at those levels. Dan says, I've been scaling out. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. All right, everybody. I hope you have a good weekend. Go do something fun. Be good. Be nice. Do something nice for another person. Do something nice for an animal. Maybe go on a hike. Be appreciative of what you have in your life, right? All that kind of stuff. It's good stuff. And I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you being here. I really do. And so I think that's it. So Jonathan, I will see you on Sunday for our lesson, and have a great rest of your week, everybody. And thanks for coming. Have a great weekend, I should say. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you on Monday. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and Forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.